Hey friends, it's Monica Schrader from the SchraderPage.com and the Schrader Page blog. I'm here to get you started with some all about polar bears fun in your classroom. Love bringing stories to life, love bringing themes to life, and polar bears is a great way to do both. Starting with the KWL, I have a Polar Bears Anticipation Guide for Polar Bears by Gail Gibbons. Vocabulary boxes that we use all the time, and my kiddos love to buddy read with them, where they're writing down important words based on the letters of the alphabet. This is what I know about polar bears. Polar bears can, are, and have. Polar bear vocabulary words and quick definitions for each word. A polar bear fact page. Polar Bear Tea Chart, where they're hunting through the book Polar Bears by Gail Gibbons and writing down about their life cycle and about their habitat. Comparing polar bears and brown bears with a Venn diagram. My top favorite game, my students can't get enough of it, Polar Bear Jeopardy. Any of my Jeopardies they absolutely love. It's really simple. They roll the dice, and whichever one pops up, they have to create a question to go along with it that their partner then would have to answer with whatever word flipped up on the die. And it's just great for practicing those questioning and answering and verbalizing with each other. There's my blubber science activity that's included in this file as well. If you purchase the polar or the penguin file, it was also in there, so that's kind of a double dose. But my students love exploring the blubber glove when we're doing polar bears or when we're doing penguins. It's just really a fun activity for them. A writing prompt. Here's what I found out about blubber through the experiment, but this is in addition for the polar bears. My students actually make a diagram of the layers of skin. So you have the muscles and the fat. There's your blubber. The black skin. You have the underfur and then the guard hair with a little bit of cotton. So that's a great visual for them. And I have just the directions in there for you. And then there's the how to make a blubber glove writing prompt as well. Polar bear report is included in this file, where they're going through and researching about the polar bear, and then they're doing some writing. And they can also add some fun facts for this file. Polar bear diagram, which you'll see later in the file. I have some examples for that. And then our fact and opinion. Journal prompts. I love to have these out in the writing center for my students to grab and check off what they want to write about. And there's little sheets that they can get their story off with. And I usually use them as leads if I'm using them in Writer's Workshop. We'll practice writing leads. Or in the Writing Center, they'll just kind of flip over to the back to finish their story. So they all correspond with the cover page where they check off what they're working on. So that's kind of simple. They go through there. Polar Bear Shape Poem, another great activity for the Writing Center. There's the diagram that I was telling you about, and then the students can cut and paste as well. Some information about the polar bear life cycle, and then we actually create ours. I get each student a den, which is here that you're seeing, and we put it on construction paper. And then the students go through and create the life cycle, and they read through each of the little strips, and they go ahead and do an illustration to match. And then they do some accordion folding so that this whole packet kind of folds up inside the den. So it's a nice visual and a hands-on activity to go through and do the life cycle. So you get the little adult bears as well. And then another activity involved in here is the polar bear paws. It goes through the perfect polar bear paw and why they're so wonderful for polar bears. And then my students actually go through and create their own life-size polar bear paw. So it's always amazing to see actually how big they are. There's a polar bear camouflage activity, and a polar bear making words, an Arctic acrostic poem, if I were a polar bear poem. And then my students actually measure 4 different types of bears using the fish. They do a grizzly bear, a polar bear, a brown bear, and a black bear. And it's always just really cool for them to see how big these bears actually are. So that's it. That's the end of my file. Again, it's Monica Schrader from the SchraderPage.com and the Schrader Page blog.